Hello there, guys. I am just literally switching over modes. I've actually had a really, really easy Sunday morning. Um, just been vegging with the boys. We sort of had a little bit of on and off rain, so it's sort of do we go out, do we not go out? So we've sort of ended up sort of like boys not even getting dressed, been on and off with Dean pretty much on text all day. He's living it up as some get to with their careers. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, he's just sitting in his sort of hostel room, I think, just chilling and probably go out in a bit. So Shiloh's asleep. He had a bit of a bump, banged his mouth today. Boys are fighting. Shiloh started biting. Elijah started biting. So we have gone through a couple of bits of chunks with the boys today. So I am just literally shifting over modes. I am literally just tidying up and straightening up from, well, breakfast was done, dinner was done, tea, well, we just literally sort of changed over from there. So I'm just processing and going through sort of what I've got to do to be set up straight for tomorrow morning. Because obviously it's Sunday, and in my world, tomorrow morning, I want to think about going to the beach and just getting on with my day, focusing on Dean back on Tuesday, and my adult and children's social care is now Wednesday. So that gives me breathing space for tomorrow. So I've got a decision. Do I get up and focus on motivating Monday mornings and get my sunrise from here, wherever I am? Do I get on with my day, what Mondays is sort of about to me, or do I just sort of get up and drift? Or do I focus at what is coming at other people? When do you get involved in other people's lives when you are not paid to do an assessment, to do a psychological report, to investigate, to look into, to serve, to produce a product for? When do you make the decision to step in and support somebody that, just like social workers, damned if you do, damned if you don't. What if you do back the wrong one? What if you don't back the wrong one? Is it any of your business? In terms of Kelly the campaigner, I can't really do anything until the judge makes his decision, and nobody can, and this is the problem. This is the problem. Complaints have been written, nobody can do anything until judge has, it's too complex, until judge sees what is presented. Now, through my own case, what I know is not everything gets presented to the courts. And as I've said on previous videos that I did the other day, it, I just need to check what Elijah's doing. Elijah, you all right? Because he's actually playing with puzzles, but that is not quiet play. But he's also watching After Earth at the same time as watching videos, and he's obsessed with this bloody After Earth film, which is driving me nuts because he must have watched it like, I don't know, I don't know how many times he's watched it in the last 3 weeks. He just constantly asks for this film. He's okay anyway, and Shiloh's asleep. So tomorrow morning, obviously, some people now are thinking about, it's school holidays, so some people are off. So here in the UK, some people are just off, children are off, nobody's really that bothered. Nobody's probably even thinking about COVID and the BBC because they're just in school holiday modes, thinking about school going back in September if it does. Some people will get up and go to work, and some of them people who get up and go to work are going to go to work as police officers, and they're going to have orders to remove babies. They're going to have orders to arrest. They're going to have orders to do welfare checks. They're going to have orders to check into some cases. There's going to be social workers getting up, and they're going to have instructions and meetings. And in that meetings, they've got to do a criteria. So it might be a parental assessment, it might be an investigation, it might be some form of process, and it might be just some target that was done within a core meeting. So they have to get on with that. So then you've got people like alcohol workers, drug workers, people working in domestic violence, people working in mental health, people working in the NHS. All these people are getting up tomorrow to go and do a job. Now, we live in a crisis management country. We live in a accident and emergency and long-term, now it's being recognised, long-term condition care. This is only now starting to get recognised properly, unless it's somebody it's long term after diagnosis, not somebody born and dies. Down syndrome is probably one of the most released disabilities into the ether because people recognize it physically and they understand to the level of the complexities, obviously not living with it unless have had that experience. Plenty of mothers, I know plenty of mothers that have raised out, and fathers and families and institutions and mental health that have raised people with that are diagnosed with that and Williams syndrome. They're just one chromosome away from Williams syndrome. So I do understand the complexities of all of these different branches of labels that make up somebody of, I don't know, sometimes your toe is different to your ankle is different to your knee is different to your hip is different to your waist is different to your shoulder is different to your elbow, and your elbows are different to your fingers and your toes do two different things, and then you've got your head to your nose to your neck, but it's just a body, yeah. But when we break it down, it has all of these different labels, but it's still just a body. The body is, the body does, and the body does. You know, you move your body, you get up, your brain tells your body to move your big toe and your fingers. Yeah, and that's how quick we do things, right? The other situation is then these people that are getting up are going to turn keys on, that are going to start up computers and machines and systems and things that run on autopilot go. And we don't live in a society now where Sunday is a day of no work and Saturday is Sabbath day and the working day ends on sunset on Friday. That's how it's meant to be. So all work is meant to come to a complete halt on sunset on a Friday, and then we go into what is the Sabbath. Sabbath is Saturday, and then Sunday is the day of rest, and then into the scheduled work, and then you work your days and blah blah blah. So that's the way it was said to be written. Tithe 10%, yeah, tithe 10% to the kingdom, yeah, to the kingdom, not to a said I'm the king and I own the kingdom and you shall be betrothed to me. That's slavery. That's trafficking. That's kidnap. That's many things. So anyway, I'm processing, setting up. I've got stuff to get on with. I've got bits here. I've got all sorts here. I've had people sort of coming in just for sort of Sunday bits. I'll grey them out the window, bloody shouting. I think I've got to go on a bloody backy thing or make the decision that tomorrow is the day to go onto a vape, which I actually do have. But I want to talk about these vapes because I have an issue with these vapes, and I certainly have an issue with the youth on these vapes, and I have an issue with the long-term effects of these vapes. But will it help me make that transition off of actually just the nicotine hit when I'm struggling? Yes, it will. But could it start another problem? Yes, it could. Many other problems. I don't need many other problems over a little doodah thing. Is it better than smoking? I don't know. We don't have that longitude study to make that decision. So that decision I need to make. So I'm processing lots of things in my head at the moment, different things, how far I'm going to get involved in what's going on with Josie. Can I do anything until she turns up to me again? Is it my business? Should I not? Is it matters that I just don't know about? Is it too personal just because it's here? Is it a distraction? Is it not a distraction? Is it was I meant to see this? Was I meant to see this evidence that the fact that we had to rush around and what I basically helped Josie and Jamie do, which they didn't know to do, and that was they had an opportunity to write to the adoption panel, which sat last week. So court isn't until next week, and the adoption panel sat last week. So she hasn't even lost, but the adoption panel have already gone down and gone, yes, we want this baby for adoption. So is it the fact that I've now physically seen this, witnessed it, and have emails and evidence, because I've been on phones and email and corresponding and making sure that they've had these letters and that they've responded to it, and this is their response, and I've seen their responses have been presented to all matters of these boards. So now we're going back to Lucy Allen. Lucy Allen was on Exposure Don't Take My Child. So I'm going to present everything that Lucy Allen says, and I want to see where Lucy Allen is in all this matter now and where she stands with it, because she used to sit on the panel, and she said, and then she saw her name on the panel, and then it changed things for her. Just like we've got with Jordan Peterson, in the fact that now he's gone to a doctor to say I'm going through, and has been given the same prescription drug that they've been giving to everybody, and now he's been through these side effects. Now, as a physician, now he can really talk about it, and as a Christian, well, God person. So there's many, what's the word? Turning of the soil going on at the moment, and people are going, what's weed, what's good, what's not. And unfortunately, it does take for some people to go, actually, you think that's a weed, but that's actually a, like a dock leaf, mate. And if you get stung by that one over there, you need that one. So we need the permaculture people now. We really need to bring this right back to nature, right back to natural, right back to who we are at the core of us. Like our spiritual beings, the healing within. Dis-ease is a dis-ease. So let's go from within. Yeah, it's all about going within. So COVID, I've always said, it's about going within yourself to come out of this. You cannot come out of this, because it's fear, without going inside yourself and working within your own core. So that's taking you back to nature. That's like getting a car and going, I got a diesel car, but fuck it, there's no diesel, I'm going to stick petrol in. It ain't happening. It ain't working. Your car isn't going that far. And it's exactly the same with the body. So we have to look at the way that things are farmed. We have to poke our nose in now and where our food's been coming from, what our food is, why we shop the way that we do. Is it the way that we want to shop? They're going to take it away from us anyway. So why shouldn't we start from ourselves, within our own families, within our own dynamics and our communities, and give from that full bucket, not the empty bucket that we're all depleting ourselves from, but actually fill your own fucking buckets up. And yes, when it is overflowing, and you can maybe, offer this amount of it to into your own family, to then go, okay, well, we as a family, we're all fine, and then we can do this, then we should all be fine. Do you know what I mean? Nobody, somebody at the end of it's going to be able to go, well, I've got this amount off, and there's somebody that's on their own there. Do you know what I mean? So if we, the alumni of the foster care world, all come together now and say, no foster care kids left behind. So any abandoned kids, Mother Goose and Popper is about. He's over in some other country at the moment, but we don't talk about stuff over technology. We talk about stuff face to face. That's how we do things between me and Dean. So I probably don't know what Dean's up to until, I don't know, until he comes home and I learn, really. I don't watch anything that people talk about him about. I do get lots of calls and stuff. I do get people trying it. I did at the beginning. I don't tend to now, especially because of how I deal with it. I can tell the difference between genuine people who have been really, really, really hurt by his past. And of course, like I've said, with people like me, Dean, and many others, we have literally climbed our way and supported and raised ourselves, really, in terms of it, really. So yes, of course we make mistakes. Yes, we fucked up along the way. Yes, we probably hurt people along the way. Yes, there's people we've said sorry to, and yes, there's people we haven't said sorry. We have not had the normal functionings of one said father and mother. I absolutely love, to any women out there, even men, by the way, if you haven't ever had sort of like the father-daughter talk, then please Google the father-daughter talk and look at a guy called Blake's something. It's absolutely brilliant. It's helped me absolutely tremendously and also confused the fuck out of me. But it just goes to show why any human being needs that line. The Bible said it. The Bible said that you have to honor thy mother and father. It doesn't mean that we have to tolerate things in our own family. That is still about boundaries. So I know for me this week, I'm obviously still preparing for Let's Come Backwards. So obviously the 13th of December, I'm going to try and nail my book down for that. Then we're coming back into November, and it's pretty much going to go off this year if things don't move, I believe. And then obviously I've got to come into October, and in October I've got all of the EDS conference stuff. I've got all of my like conference stuff for social now. So this is the, do they carry on? Does it go to court? What do they do? This is like, I've never ever gone 2 rounds with these people like this. They usually just shut it down with me. This is the first time they've gone 2 rounds. So, but that's because it's meant to be a managed move. That's because COVID's changed it. That's because we have 5 different social workers changed over. And that's just because the health visitor has only just been able to come out in gloves and masks to see my kids, and my kids were freaked to fuck out by it and didn't want her anywhere near her because she had apron on, gloves on, masks on, and my kids were like, really, and she still had to stick to it. And even in our family, because at the end of the day she said she's going off to see babies afterwards, that's completely fine, and I completely get it, and I completely respect it. I don't ask anyone to take their mask off, just as I don't ask anyone to put their mask on. But what I do ask people is to use this time to think about the germs that we do spread. My son used to be fanatic about it, washing hands after the toilet, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, he's ended up in a really good job at an agriculture place. He's graduated, blah, 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 blah. So I've just coughed. I've just coughed into my hands. I've just touched my outside of my fridge. So yes, officially, yes, I should grab a baby wipe. I should wipe that fridge down. I should wipe my hands because I've coughed. I've got 2 children in there. And go and wash my hands and potentially sanitize them because I'm spreading disease everywhere. I've even I've even passed on a genetic mutation to 6 children. Now, please remember, undiagnosed with first 2, going through complex sort of things with the second 2, obviously lost them to social services. Now we're dealing with people trying to get things right, and even Dean has just admitted that he hasn't been able to respond to stuff because he just hasn't had the research or the understanding. Now, if you want to talk to him about the vaccinating side, he can do that, but he can't from an EDS point of view. So now I've got to educate Dean. So now I need the EDS world to do me a favour. We need education for partners for EDS, Asperger's, dyslexic, neurodiversity, if you want to call us that. Excuse me, guys. I actually cough because I'm vocal cord dysfunction. I'm struggling because I'm coming back on and off live. For those that forget why I'm here, is because I, as a person, EDS, I have, woman, I am, have children, I have complicated births, did one, and diagnosed with Asperger's, overcome dyslexia-ish, don't really understand it, and pretty much navigated my way through the world through, yeah, still learning that one.